Hello friends, hope everybody's doing well. Okay, so today I have an emergency brake job I have to do on my 92 Toyota 4Runner. They started grinding. Well, today was the first day I could hear it grinding, but it doesn't mean it was grinding before that. And it's my bad too, because we just had the wheels off and I painted them the disgusting blue that I really don't like. And I should have taken a look at the brake stand and I didn't. Okay, so the story with this is I had to order the brake pads for it because it's so old. It's a 1992. And I had a half a set of brake shoes, brake pads that were off the other truck there. And what happened was when the head gasket went on this truck here, I think it was the left side caliper seized. And I needed something to drive around because this was laid up while I was doing the head gaskets on it. And so I bought the set of brake pads, which are right here. So I only used a half a set. I just put the brake pads on the side where I replaced the caliper. I didn't bother putting the pads on the other side. I believe were okay. Plus I knew I wasn't driving that truck that much more after I got this one done. But yeah, it came with some of the hardware here. It came with the two retaining pins that I'll show you, and then it has this bracket that clips on there. These are the pads right here. Now with this, you have to be really careful that you just can't put these pads on any old way. There's an inner and an outer on these. I went crazy the first time I ever did one years ago. I went crazy. And I think American Motors, AMC cars, I did the Hornets and a couple other models were the same way, and I went crazy with them too. I mean, you could put these on wrong, but what'll happen is the pad will be hitting the rotor here, and the rotor won't spin. But yeah, so just make sure when you get the pads off here, like I'm going to show you. I'm going to try to set this camera up so you can see something going on. I don't know if you'll be able to see a lot of what's going on here, but yeah, just take the inner one out, lay it down, take the outer one out, lay it to the right of that. This way you know when you put the new pads in, you're putting them in right. Okay, so this has a 4-piston caliper. There's 2 pistons, there's one here, one on the inner, and another one on the inner. So it's a 4-piston caliper. And these could be a real bit of a pain in the ass to push the pistons in. But the thing is, if you're having a lot of trouble pushing the pistons in, then you have to get new calipers. The last time I did do one brake job on this truck so far and the pistons went right in. So I'm hoping for the same miracle this time. Because these calipers are pretty costly. I forgot how much they were, but they were a lot of money. And they were rebuilds, and you have to turn in the old caliper. What else I want to point out to you? The truck was not pulsating, so I'm not doing anything with the rotors. Once again, this is 4-wheel drive, and there's a lot to take apart to get the rotor and hub off, and then you got to take the disc off the hub. A bit of a pain to do, but since it wasn't pulsating, and they're not riveted brake pads, so if anything, there's no big grooves in the rotors since it was grinding. So enough chit chat right now, and let's get with this job. And I'm going to try to set the camera up so I'm not in your way, but it's going to be a little tough. My friend Ali Mac, mechanical, I don't know, he manages to film stuff while he's doing it. But then again, he has Braveheart to help him, you know, to do the camera when he's doing brakes and stuff that's like hard to film, you know. But it's only me, myself, and I here. So I'm going to do the best I can. Okay, so the biggest fight is going to be getting these pistons in here. And we'll take it from there and let's see what happens. Okay, so let's get moving here. I think you're pretty much, yeah, you can pretty much see what's going on. But I'm probably going to be in your way a lot. Okay, so what you have here is the 2 retaining pins. There's one here and one here that holds the brake pads in. And then I guess this is like an anti-chatter clip here. And what you want to do is you want to take this wire, holds the pins in from falling out. So you just want to take this wire and pull it off here. And try not to damage it, because I don't know if the kit came with that. Yeah, I think it did. It might have. So you want to try not to damage that. But if we do, it doesn't matter, because see, this kind of clips into the pad too. And then you can pull it back. Yeah, let me just pull this thing off of here like this. I was pretty sure if you just push this thing in here, the retainer will come out. What, I stabbed myself in the finger already? What's this? Yeah. Well, so far I can't get that out too easy. I don't care if this pin breaks, because it came with a new one. Alright, so we'll worry about getting this thing off later. What I think is this wraps around and clips into here, like so. Here. See if we can grab a hold of it with the pliers. Yeah. Yeah, this like tucks into the pad here. That's why I was having a little hard time getting it out. So, great idea. Get some WD-40. These pins could get stuck in here pretty bad sometimes, you know. So we're just slapping the pads on this thing. We're not taking the rotors off or nothing. So after I get the pads out and I get these pins out, I usually just take some brake clean and just clean up the rotor real quick. I don't know how hard these pins are going to be to get out of here though. Starting to move. These pins can be a real pain sometimes. Ali Mack is a real good guy. I like watching him work on cars and stuff. So I think I'm going to leave his link for his channel and check him out. He does a lot of work. He does Audis. He does everything. Range Rovers. He has a collection of cars. Yeah, I enjoy watching him. So far these are a little bit of a pain to get out, but if you just knock the pin back in, just keep on doing that in and out, then finally the pin will start walking out. Yeah, it's starting to move pretty good now. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so once you get this bottom pin out, you could take this retaining clip here and you could just fold it out this way and it'll come right out. Or if you have to take the other pin out too, it's no big deal. But just make sure you start this in when you're putting it back together again. So instead of you watching me fight getting these pins out, I'm going to get the pins out and then I'll be right back to you and I'll show you how I press the pistons in. Oh yeah, before I let you go a second, these let's see. Oh yeah, the pistons. I couldn't think of pistons. I couldn't think of the name. Yeah, the pistons that are in here are metal. Back in the 90s, and I think the 80s and 90s, I'm not sure. I remember Ford, right? They had some kind of other material they used for the pistons. And you got to be really careful. It doesn't matter now. Those cars are probably all in the junkyard or squashed. You got to be careful you didn't break the piston when you're prying it in. I mean, it's good to have the tool, but there was some situations where, you know, you want to try to just pry the piston in. You know how I know? I cracked one. So these you don't have to worry about cracking too much, but you want to go crazy on the piston. What I do is try to get in between the rotor and the pad and push by the pad to get the piston in. I don't really like going directly on the piston, but I'm just rambling on, it seems. Let's get to work here. Alright. Okay, so once you start getting the pin out a bit, I got the pin like out to here. What I do is I just take my pry bar and I just curl it so it curls in, and then you can stick it on the end there, and then just take a hammer. It's still a pain though when they're stuck. They're still tough to get out, but where the heck is this thing? Oh, it's right there. You just want to get it on the edge there, and then just take your hammer, if I could get it, ever get it back on there, and just keep tapping it, and it'll come out. I know my arms and everything are in the way. And then when it comes out beyond this, you could actually take a vice grip and stick it on there and twist it and get it the rest of the way off. I just wanted to show you that real quick, what a pain these could be. Let me get over here and shut this camera back off. Once that pin starts going through the hole too, and I forgot to tell you, you could take a drift, small punch or whatever, and get back there and just knock it through. I don't have my good tools anymore, like when I have my snap-on box. But now you see this pin is out far enough here, so I'm going to try to stick the vice grip on here and twist it the rest of the way out. If you don't have any more pins, you got to be careful you don't bend these pins or anything. But Napa pads are good because they come with everything. So now once you start wiggling it, and plus we sprayed the WD on there, you can more or less just pull this thing out here. We got the brand new pins, but I'm going to save these pins. I'll clean them up someday if I ever need them again. And then you're going to take this and just pop this right out. The pin holds this in. It's like that anti-chatter clip, I guess you would call it. And I've lost my wrap. Oh no, here it is. Alright, let me get the other pin out, and then we'll go ahead and try to get the pistons pushed in. Now that's my biggest worry right now, is getting the pistons back in. Okay, I think we're rolling again. Alright, so now it's time to get these calipers in. Okay, like on a car, you would take the caliper off and press the piston in. And I figured out to use these years ago, like welder's clamps. If you stick the one end into the piston, and this will be behind the caliper here, you just keep squeezing and working it in. Remember I was telling you about those other calipers that weren't metal? That's where I think I broke a piston because I was using these. But I needed calipers anyway because the pistons wouldn't go in. I think they used that material so the pistons wouldn't seize, but that didn't work out. So, but what I'm going to do is I am going to try to clamp this on here onto the pad here to try to get it started, maybe. We'll see. Because my problem is now there's no material left on the pad to jab a screwdriver in there and start prying the piston. That's my problem right now. And I'm hoping these pistons aren't stuck. Let me see where we are behind here. I don't want to damage anything. Usually with these trucks, with these 4Runners, or probably any other Toyota that has this system, you probably end up having to change the calipers every time you do a brake job because That's what I finally had to do on my 94 work truck. I could never get the pistons back in. And if I can't get this piston back in right now, I'm screwed. Because I don't have anything to drive. So one way or another, we're getting these pistons in. I don't even know if we got a space in there yet. Yeah, we do. We do. So I'm just gonna, you gotta watch out on some of these rotors that you don't bend the rotor trying to force the piston in too. So I'm gonna get this in here right now, and I'm gonna try to clamp the bottom of the other part of the pad here. What's going on here? I think I'm going to just try to stick the pry bar in here. I should actually take the cap off the master cylinder, because that always helps too. But I think it started to do something here. Oh, come on. There's really nothing to clamp on here. Too easy. See if we can get a bite on it now. If I get the other lower piston to start going in, then I can stick the other pry bar in here and just pry this thing. Pry the pistons in. We should be able to. I don't see why not. Then before you put the pads in, there's a slider here where the pad slides in and out. I'm going to take a wire brush. I'm going to clean that up real good in there. And I'm going to take some anti-seize with my finger and stick some in there before we put the pad in. See if we could. See if I could jam this thing in here like this. Yeah, see there's space there now. That's pretty good. So I should be able to get this portion of piston in without a problem. Yeah, right. Without a problem. Never say that. What am I doing saying that? Got to be out of my mind saying, not even thinking it. Okay, so that's pressing in now. And the reason why you want to do one pad at a time is, if you take both pads out, what's going to happen is when you're squeezing these pistons in, these pistons might start coming out, and you don't want that to happen. That's a problem. I think this piston's just about all the way in. I think we're good with this. So I'm going to go get my little wire brush. Yeah, so that's seeing it's better there. Sometimes you don't hear it, but this didn't just start happening, you know. It's been going on for a while. The piston is, the rotor, not real bad. Because these are not riveted pads. If they were riveted pads, I would have just dug right into the rotor. So we're going to just let this go as a slap the pads on it and go. That's how we're going to do this. I'm going to go get the wire brush, and then I'm going to get the anti-seize. And we're going to match up the pads. Remember, I told you the inner and outer pads are different. So we'll match those up. And I'm going to run quick to get that without shutting the camera off, because I'm having a hard time seeing this camera go back on. So I'll be right back. Won't be long. You believe this? I went into the shed and forgot what I went in there for. It was to get this brush. Really getting senile. So you want to get all this crud out of here. Darn it, I forgot the brake clean. I just want to give this a couple of shots of brake clean. I promise I'll remember what I'm going in there for, and I'll just grab the brake clean real quick and I'll be right back. This is funny. So not buying the calipers got to save me at least $300. And this is doing it yourself. The pads were $40. That's not bad. You know. So if you take your car or your truck to get done by a mechanic, what are they up to? $120 an hour? I don't know, something crazy. And whatever you do after you do the brakes and you pressed in the pistons and you put the pads in, don't just jump in the car and go. You want to sit there and pump the brakes up, because if you jump in the car and go, you have no brakes. Because what you're doing is you got to pump the pedal to get the pistons back out to seat, so the brake pads seat against the rotor again. I've accidentally done that, but luckily I didn't go through a wall or a bay door at work or nothing. So I just want to let you know. Be very careful of that. So going out in the salt and the crap and all that, I don't even know if anti-seize will even work. I doubt it. Living not too far from the ocean, going out in salted streets in the winter, it's just going to get corroded and stuck again. Okay, so I'm going to match up the pads here right now. Okay, you can see these are the same. You see how it's got this here and this lip here, right? Where this one don't have that lip. And that's how you can clear the rotor. Okay, so we can slide this in now. And so while I have this slid in here, we can work on pressing the other two pistons in. So I'm going to leave you off right here for a few minutes, and I'll be back to you if anything exciting is going on. What we're going to do is this reverse procedure of how to put this back together, like I told you, with that anti-chatter clip, the pins, and then that retainer there. I'll see you back here in a moment. If I could shut the camera. Okay, so hopefully you're in view most of the time here with this job. Anyway, I did that same thing with the outer pad. I took and I used the wire brush and cleaned it up real good. Then I took a little brake clean and sprayed it. And I'm holding the magnifying glass. I took the brake clean and sprayed it, and I put the anti-seize, which I doubt it's going to do anything anyway. Okay, so what you want to do with this clip here, I usually start the bottom pin in first, and you can see how this is like got a slot where the pin runs over it, and then I'll just get that pin in first, and then usually you could just clip it on after you get the top pin in. We'll try it that way. It's no big deal. I mean, we're using the brand new pin, so we'll be able to get the pins right back out. So I'll put some anti-seize on the pins. For what, I don't know, but we will. So we'll start with the bottom one first. You might have to pull the pad out a little bit to get the pin through, or push it in, either way. And I can't get the pin in there. You see the top one aligns. We have a little bit of an alignment problem here. I don't know why. Why? Because we're on camera, that's why. What the heck is going on here? Okay, so we got the top one over here started. So I'll just leave that pin in there right now. We'll see about the bottom. Let me get some anti-seize on the pan. Why ain't that going then? Okay, so that's all there was to it. Take the pin retainer out, that wire, take that out, start knocking the pins out, spraying with WD, get the pin to start coming out. Sometimes you gotta knock the pin back in and out and in and out till you get it loose. Another thing I did was, once the pin started coming out, I just put these wire cutters. I just stuck them around there, and I was hitting the back of the wire cutter. I can't show you because I'm holding the camera. And I just started tapping on that, and the pin started coming out. You know, just start whacking it with the hammer. There's several ways you could do this. Either way you do this, sometimes these pins are a real pain to get out, but we got it. I put the pads in. Of course, that one pin I was having trouble with, as soon as I shut the camera off, guess what happened? Yeah, you got it. It went right in. But, okay, so once I got the bottom pin in, I put this retainer on. Okay? And then I pushed this part of the retainer in, and then I knocked the pin in so the retainer stays in there good. You could put the pins in and start the bottom, and then sometimes you could just clip these on there, or just give it a little tap with the hammer and it'll go. But I always choose to do it the way I just told you to do it. And don't forget to pump the pedal when you're done. That's the most important thing right now to do. I wish I had the other side so I could get it done and over with today, but I was just going to show you the one side either anyway. So, and then the way I push the pistons in, I showed you how I did that. And always make sure, you know, with a 4-piston one, always make sure you do the inner first, or the inner first though, like I did, and make sure you put the pad in there before you go squeezing the other side, because you might run into a problem with the pistons popping out, and then you're in real trouble. So I hope this helps somebody out someday. Yeah, and there's nothing more to say about this. And thanks for watching. I'll see you all on the next one, and stay safe.